Jenny's songs. Why is there music associated with the Time Unforeseen Occurrence books?
Why? Originally, I had no intention of doing that. Well, I had no intention of writing the 7 books either. That was sort of a surprise to me. But the reason there's a CD that's thematic to this, we put out a CD every year anyway, but this is a separate thing that just goes with the books, is because Jenny, the leading lady of the story, photography is her primary, it's artistic, that's what she does for a living, but it's her main gift, her primary gift. But she also writes and sings and plays. Like many artists, she has other facets to her art. And because I think in all of the books, perhaps only 2 songs are written out in full, in terms of just written out as words. And the comments we received from people who were reading the books and whose opinion we asked, well, how can we make this? What would you like to see and what would you like to hear? And they said, well, if you could make these, the songs are fine, but if you could make these, jump off the page and sing, and that would be great. And of course, there's no way to make them jump off the page and sing. So we thought about that for a little bit, and I said, well, we could always do a CD. There's no problem doing a CD of the songs that Jenny that are in the book. And also, you've read the series. You'll know that underneath every chapter heading, there's a poem or a prose or a part of a song that I may have pulled from my own repertoire or may have just written to set up each chapter, to give the mood of the chapter, not necessarily the content, that would be boring, but the mood of the chapter. And because I see musicality, in everything. Like, for me, a sentence has, it undulates, it has a rhythm, and if it doesn't, it's not my sentence. I can't read it that way. It has to come to either a perfect cadence, or if you're using ellipses, a hanging point. That's all right. That's like a pause in music. That's okay. But these other books, not books, songs that we were talking about, we just felt it would give Jenny's character, since people seem to want that much more depth. You asked about developing characters, and there's something delicious about delving deeply into somebody, because in our day-to-day lives, so few people really truly know us. I mean, who really knows you? I mean, who knows me? If I were asked that question, I'd have to say one person on earth really truly knows me, and that would be my husband. And my children to a lesser degree, because they're busy with their own lives and still have got self in there, and aren't really all that interested in mom and dad's deepest thoughts anyway. And even my best friends couldn't know me on the same level as my husbands do. And I think if you go through life, if you have 2 or 3 friends who know you deeply, you're a rich person indeed, because it's rare. And so when we have a character in a book, it's wonderful, because we have this time invested in them, we have our emotions invested in them, we have our intellect invested in them, and so the deeper the well goes, the more interesting it is. And people seem to love Jenny. Men fall in love with her, women want to be her, that sort of thing. And so giving her a voice to her songs, and we almost put some of her photographs in the book, but we decided not to, because I think they're described well enough in word pictures, and a little bit of mystery is a good idea. But the CD came about to give people, you always want to give more to your readers, and at some point you have to cut it off and say, okay, I can't give any more, and you have to move on to your next project. But I always have this feeling that we need to give as much as possible to the reader, so that they have this banquet in front of them, and they can savor, and each character in as much depth and richness and complexity as possible. And so this was something we added for the readers to Jenny's character, because now they have a sound and a voice to add to everything that she's writing, and I think it was worthwhile doing. I'm glad we did it.